News of the week.
6 years old when a presidential candidate came to the California Democratic Convention.
Who's this guy again?
It's time to pass the torch to a new generation of Americans. That candidate was then Senator Joe Biden. Joe Biden was right when he said it was time to pass the torch to a new generation of Americans 32 years ago.
There we go.
He's still right today.
Eric Swalwell.
Eric Swalwell for president.
You don't know about that?
No.
This is because none of the left media has been reporting on it.
No.
They just showed that on Fox News. Only CNN reported it was like 3 minutes.
Really?
And they interviewed Swalwell. Swalwell saying he wants an investigation into why it was leaked right now.
Yeah.
I'm still holding on to that torch.
Yeah.
I want to make it clear to you.
hold on that torch.
The fact of the matter is, what we have to do is make sure that everybody is prepared better to go on to educate for an education. The fact is that's why I propose us focusing on schools that are in distress.
These aren't sentences.
That's why I think we should triple the amount of money
Greg,
we spend
schools,
for Title I schools.
education.
Let him go. Don't
Title
trump him.
I.
Don't trump him. Let him go.
Pre-K.
Title I.
That's why I think every single person who graduates from high school, 65 out of 100 now, need something beyond high school, and we should provide for them to be able to get that education.
Preach.
That's why there should be free community college, cutting in half the cost.
Bring it
of
in.
college.
Was he singing that tune during election?
Oh my gosh.
There we go.
Inflation.
We didn't even need to get that.
Imagine the
Let him go.
inflation.
Let him go.
$1 a year. Their debt is frozen, no interest payment until they get beyond that. We can't put people in a position where they aren't able to go on and move on. And so, folks, there's a lot we can do, but we have to make continuing education available for
There it
everyone.
is. There's our next
so that
president.
everyone can compete.
Continue
Yeah,
education.
he is. Mind you, he was
There
like
we
a
go.
dead
There's our
last
next
place at this time.
Yeah.
And
that was a losing
And these are
strategy.
powerful
They're about
words.
ready to push him off the stage.
These are
losing-
powerful words.
They're about ready to push him off the
Very
stage.
unintelligent words.
Oh yeah, that was vintage. I didn't even. I wanted
was
the Swalwell.
great.
I wanted the Swalwell bite to
It was
lead
great.
into today's news.
Talks
We
about
are-
education. He's talking about
Welcome.
post-secondary.
Ladies and gentlemen.
He's talking about giving it for free.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Going to college. That is
to
insane.
a certain point, not entire. He
Whole-
didn't,
it shouldn't
he
be
didn't say
any-
4 years. He said trade schools. He said community college.
Should not be free.
He said
we
community
gotta get.
college.
No, hold on. We gotta get back on.
We need welders and stuff. That's what he's talking
Shouldn't
about.
be
The
free,
trade.
though.
We
Should be
will
free, though.
back
Wow.
on the rails. Back on. I did not. The second part with Joe Biden. I wanted the Swalwell clip. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's December 10th, 2020. Today's headlines are Swalwell, Hunter Biden,
we're-
stimulus talks,
And we're locked back down.
And woof.
and we're locked back down. And that's, but now mind you,
Because we're in Pennsylvania.
it is not written law yet.
Great state.
Come Saturday, apparently
The
we're
Commonwealth.
going back into. I don't know. Right now, the way I read it, it's no gatherings of 10 plus.
Yeah.
So what does that mean
That's
for
what
the
I read it too.
Steelers? What does that mean for the churches?
Half capacity in buildings. Is what it is.
So like,
yeah,
but
it
there's
is.
no
10
dining
it
Well,
is
can
10
they still
people
play?
gathering
with no food.
It's family. I think it's 10 gathering or
Private
but a lot
gatherings.
of places were like half capacity.
Yeah,
too.
he's right. He's
Okay.
right.
Oh, so like the football.
Walmart half capacity.
Yeah, like you can still go to a store. Now they'll probably have more of those counters outside. People count people going in, going out.
Yeah, that's already yeah.
Like I
Easy
remember
money.
going to Home Depot. Like
you think
had
they'd
to do
have
that.
like turnstiles? That you
Yeah.
pass
No,
through by
people-
now?
that would
Stores
be a
aren't
hot
set up
spot.
to. They're not set up to limit people to come in. They usually want people flocking in to buy their stuff. You know.
Well,
So-
that's not now.
It
You
is
don't
Christmas
want that.
time.
The new.
It is Christmas time and it's busy out there.
Yes, Merry Christmas, and it's about to be canceled for the first time ever.
It is
as
canceled.
a-
I mean,
a
theoretically.
running theme. I bet we could pull the clips of me from 4 years ago during Crash Talk.
It's too much
yelling
work.
at Craig about, oh, there's no war on Christmas. That's all exaggerated. This is just some dumb thing that the Republicans bring up to get the evangelicals out. No, we're about to cancel Christmas. It's happening. I was wrong.
I know our
I was
family
very
isn't
wrong.
having it.
Yeah, my sister lives in Minneapolis. I don't think she's coming in anymore. you
Did she
know,
survive
so-
the riots?
Yeah, she did. Thanks for.
Town was
They
burnt
have.
down.
I
Thanks for
just.
your
I
concern.
actually
She
just
did.
seen today they defunded the police by $8 million.
They'll replace it with something else. Don't worry,
Elion.
Craig. They'll replace it with
Elion.
something
Oh,
else.
They'll still spend the money.
This
somewhere.
is the symbolic stuff, though. I mean, they'll like defund the police and then they'll redo a police force, basically hiring the same people back. It's all just.
I thought they wanted to hire
Smoke and mirrors.
like
Smoke and mirrors.
counselors and stuff.
I think they want them to be more like
They're
case
trying to
managers
repurpose.
and
It
less
was never
like.
defund. It's
Like
you know,
repurpose.
some dudes
They don't
beating
wanna-
his wife.
they don't want 'em to
They
be
want to send
soldiers.
a counselor to kind of
They're cool
talk
with the
them down.
cops if they're
managers,
breaking up
case
small town
managers.
diners. If Democrats are completely cool if the cops are being used to break down the local
But you're
pub.
dealing with a lot of like I would call them mentally unstable people when you're the cop. So I mean, I see where they're going with it. You know, it's just you can't have people with guns, just ex-soldiers going around trying to patrol it like in a military
Oh, they definitely
state.
need better
So
training.
That's what I'm saying. So that's it's a good thing at the end of the day. That's what I'm saying. It's cyclical. This thing it comes and it goes. It's symbolic. That's what they do to change it.
Okay.
you
Now,
go.
the nature of today's show, Alec. He has a kid to raise,
I
so
do.
apparently he has to disappear at some point.
I will. I'll just mysteriously, you won't hear me talking anymore.
Well, there's some stuff right now. The goal of this show is we want both sides to be represented.
Yeah.
So we don't want it to be a pile on.
And I really am the only Democrat,
You
so
are.
I'll get
you
my
are. I
I'll get
used to
my
be.
digs
I'm
in
gonna
early.
try and help you
Yeah.
at times.
You'll
there are
take
times
o-
when I'm gonna hammer, and there are times
When I leave, you can become a Democratic
yes, I'm
guy.
gonna try and play. I'm gonna play both sides of the field. I'm gonna play offense and defense.
We are gonna get some Democrat guests on here.
Yes, we're trying. We want people to feel
whatever you
comfortable.
say,
We need it.
Craig,
We want
whatever
people-
you say.
We want people to feel comfortable.
We have our new guest. Let's
Look
introduce
at the
our new
studio.
guest.
This is the first. Hopefully, this is recording. We did this once.
recording.
We failed.
The numbers are going up, so
Hopefully, we're here right now. We got a new studio. We got all the equipment. We
Yeah.
got room for 4. A buddy, Ryan Weaver, the Weaves.
Weaves.
Did you want to introduce yourself? Go ahead and
definitely
I think everybody does know me
I
here.
mean, you could definitely plug your.
any
Ground
thought-
round.
Yeah.
2017.
Ground, yeah, we all know each other.
I'm
Ground round,
I'm
happy
lucky to
hour.
be here. I
Yeah.
am glad I'm here, though.
go.
For
There
sure.
We're glad to have you.
We are too.
It's been a long time in the making, I feel like.
It has been.
Oh, yeah.
We've been trying to get this off the ground for a bit.
Craig made a big investment leap here. You know, he took initiative. He got it going. You know, that's good. You know, I got everything set up. They were technical. We worked out the bugs. That's what
do.
we're trying
We
to
do.
You know,
Yep.
so
We got
all right. What else you got in your Greg?
to kick
board
off.
there,
To kick
Greg?
off. Yeah, I got a board.
Yeah.
Yeah, say error.
Error.
Got that.
Yeah.
We have not figured out a place to put it yet.
E5. We got to hang it somewhere.
First thing we got to talk about is Nancy F&P. I'm trying not to swear. I'm trying because it's not when it deserves
get
being
flagged
sworn. Yeah,
when you
yeah,
swear,
yeah.
you know.
No reason to talk like a bunch of sailors if we don't.
Let's
have
uphold broadcast standards. here,
Some things
everybody.
though deserve Nancy F&P. I really we're not going to play a soundbite, but before the election, the month leading up, she wanted $3 trillion. She would not accept 1.8. Now this was in November.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get any kind of deal. Now all of a sudden it looks like Biden's about to take the reins, and she's willing to take less than $1 trillion. And she actually came out on, I don't think you've heard this yet, Alec, but there's a recording of her coming out going is, yeah, we took it now because we know the president's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
That, how is that?
The political winds have shifted, as
how
they
is that-
say, Greg.
Okay, so I guess we tried to impeach the president because he withheld funding to Ukraine unless they were willing to do an
I
investigation.
mean, there were other reasons why they were
But
trying
no,
to
that was
impeach
the
Trump,
actual
but
charge. That was when
That
we-
was the.
That was the
filed-
one they thought was going to
we
be the
filed-
most credible,
we
but
filed
there
an
were
impeachment. No, we went-
several other things.
No, on the record,
On
we
the
filed,
table.
he was exonerated. We filed an
Everything
impeachment.
else they wanted to impeach him for doesn't count because what they went with was.
Yeah, I understand that, but there were a bunch of other things on the table, so
But
it
those
does,
don't matter.
It doesn't matter in a legal sense,
Well-
but it matters to me, a voter. So
Well, how is Nancy withholding $1 trillion of aid in a wartime? We're in a war with COVID. She's withholding $1 trillion until after an election to make people feel pain and to make things look worse than they actually are. When she was willing to take half the deal she was standing on, she just wanted to wait till she got through the election and she got what she wanted.
Exactly. I mean, that's all. She was waiting for better political timing, and you know what? It wasn't just Nancy, and it wasn't just Trump. There was a lot of Republicans
How many
out
businesses closed?
there. There was
How
a
many
lot
people
of
died?
there's a lot of Republicans that didn't want that bill to go through before the election.
Well,
so it wasn't just that.
So her
like,
hostage,
it wasn't that black and white.
her hostage negotiation tactics had a consequence.
She got less money at the end of the day, but she's getting in a more favorable
How many
terms.
people-
Hopefully,
people's
I mean, the final details haven't been
livelihoods-
worked
This
out
has
yet,
not been an
so-
easy month for a lot of small businesses that had
No,
their, as
no,
we
it
just
hasn't.
had
And it's
in
been
PA,
a huge transfer of wealth to the wealthiest Americans.
all small
All
businesses.
the big.
Thanks.
Says the most staunch conservative at the table
Well,
right
no,
now.
no, okay.
so.
Look,
I mean, I'm not in
let's
favor
go back.
of the government
Let's go back to
mandating.
Let's go back to Thanksgiving Eve. You took all that money from local small businesses and restaurants.
Yeah.
You didn't ban alcohol. You didn't
Right.
close the casino. You didn't close the liquor store. You closed the local bars at 5.
Definitely borderline illegal.
You stole money
I'll give
from
you
a
that
bunch
one.
of single moms, a
Yeah.
bunch of people working their second jobs. This is a college job. This is taking money
kinda
from
do
people
feel
that
like it's a
they need the
little-
holiday pay. You get a liquor license to be open right now.
I don't know if I'd call it age discrimination. I mean, there's more young people that would like to go out to a
Oh
bar.
no,
probably
lockdowns!
than-
Lockdowns are definitely crushing young
know,
people compared
like
to
you
old
were always
people.
talking
Old
about-
people are making off like bandits.
You were
on the
talking
lockdown.
about like the dating, like how do you date now? You can't go to a bar, you know, like all this different
You
thing.
can't
like it's
see strangers'
Tinder.
faces. I don't even.
well, that's
Tinder does still.
You
but
can only
Greg's
see-
like technology. I don't like to use it, but I
Yeah.
broadcast on
What, I know
Facebook
how
or
ironic
Twitter,
is that.
YouTube,
I'm very
whatever.
anti-tech,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna have to rely on tech to get my message.
I see
out.
you throwing a
I'm
tweet
trying.
out a day,
I'm
tweet a day.
trying. I'm trying.
Yeah,
I'm being deboosted. I'm being deboosted. Follow at Greg Troutman Show. I got 25 followers followers and they're deboosting me. I'm already deboosted. Nobody's listening. So just let the tweets go out normal. I'm not swearing. I'm not saying anything
they're
wrong.
just that radical,
Deboosted
Greg.
is
They're
better
just
than
that
being kicked off
radical.
permanently.
Yeah, that's right. It's okay. We have.
That's right.
We
That's
need
right.
social
No more
media help.
Craig.
We need social media help. We need social media help. We're trying to survive on it.
Yeah.
But so, Alec, how is this not? I guess this makes Nancy Pelosi has to be the worst negotiator of all time.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Like, as
I'm
far
not
as-
saying
if-
she's
if-
doing a
if-
great
if-
job.
if
She
you're banking
lost
on-
money. She lost money, and that's okay.
She wanted 3. She got 1. She could have had 2. She passed on that. Waited a month.
1.8. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't think
$2
it's.
trillion's a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mind mentioning while we're talking about numbers you can't even imagine.
Yeah, that is true.
We're talking about $1 trillion or $2 trillion.
Doesn't 900
She
million
fucked up
sound more
$1 trillion.
impactful?
She
You know?
fucked up, Alex. She fucked up $1 trillion.
Okay, but I don't
$1 trillion
think.
could have went to the small businesses. They could have went to the local governments. They could have went
Here's
to all
my
this stuff.
here's my
Bitch
point.
was gonna take
I don't
it.
think it was that popular from the get go. I know I'm not crazy about
No.
bailout packages because I'm tired of just printing money.
Well,
we
that's-
did
if
it
you're-
already.
if you're Mitch-
How much more money can
Okay.
we
Yeah.
possibly
No,
print?
I
So-
completely agree with him.
Thank you.
We
There
need
we
to
go.
stop
Everyone-
printing money.
Yeah.
Stop handing money.
So Alex
out.
saying no deal, no stimulus. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. I mean, not a second round. They did the first
They
round.
shouldn't even have done the first one.
I think
Fair.
what you want to
I
do,
disagree.
like you want to be really careful. I don't think you want to hand it out directly to the people. Like when they were just like, "Oh, here's 1,200 here, here's 1,200 there."
$600. Yeah.
And they shouldn't have sent
You
money.
get a car.
To the,
You get a car. You
So-
get a
Yeah,
car.
like if you want to help the hospitals and all that, like okay, that's like
I agree. Certain people
sound
should have
government
got it,
spending.
and then certain people probably
yeah.
shouldn't.
I'm not saying nobody shouldn't have got anything. I'm not
No,
saying
but
that.
okay.
Just
yeah.
saying we should have been a little bit more careful with how we
but to-
directed
but
it.
to
But
clarify,
it's crazy to see in other parts of the world where it was a lot more money and a lot more often they got their checks than where you just got one for 1,200. Like
Yeah.
that one-time check meant something 8 months ago. We've been
Right,
locked down
right.
for 8 months.
My thing is actually the unemployment benefits and them giving that extra $600 a week. I'm okay with you extending unemployment benefits. Definitely understand that was for that policy. But that extra $600 a week, and we're talking $2,400 a month. Most people don't even make that much, like regular, and
Well, wait,
you're
wait.
incentivizing them to sit on the couch, and the workforce was
But
already
it goes the other way
strangled.
where people
So-
make a lot more money than that, and then now they're not making that.
Play,
I-
devil's
and I-
advocate, the
I
waitresses,
understood it.
The waitresses who right now they're only getting paid so much an
Right,
hour, so
right.
unemployment
Yeah.
doesn't compensate for the tips. In
Right.
the holiday season, they're going to be making a lot more. That extra money's
and
not.
maybe that industry should have got more money than like other industries because of that fact.
There
because
is
it was more
there's a bill
tip-based,
there's a
you
bill
know,
out that
so.
is just targeting small restaurants.
Yeah,
the
and
restaurant
that part I
industry.
get because what's the most?
No, it
identi-
won't. No. Nancy's refusing it. Mitch said, "Listen, we can't agree on tort reform, versus funding for small local government." His idea was leave those out and pass the stuff we can. We can do some stuff for the restaurants. We can do some stuff with the payroll. We can do some things to make this month until we get to Biden more palpable.
I do think the fact that the restaurant is like the most identifiable business that like everybody interacts with pretty much all the time.
I'd say not everyone. I'm beginning. The more I'm out, I'm saying there is a strong difference between Republicans go out to eat a lot more than Democrats do.
Oh, you're willing to make that claim, are you now?
Yeah. And I'm actually, and when you look at specifically the politicians who have gone the hardest against this, Wolf and Cuomo, these are the kind of guys that can't go to their local bar without getting booed out of the building. So they
guess,
hate these restaurants.
Democrats
they
live
don't
in-
like these free speech places where the common man can come in and eat next to the rich person and say whatever they want.
So you're saying the country club and all that,
I'm saying
smoke-filled rooms kind of
Democrats
situation, or-
are anti-restaurant. By and large,
Democrats, Democrats live in the city. I feel like that's all you do. There's restaurants everywhere. You go out to eat.
The cities are dead, Alec. I don't know if you've been to a city lately. The cities aren't like a
I live
thing.
in the city of Greensburg. Thank you very much. Greg.
My brother.
Did you just call Greensburg a city?
It's
Oh,
technically a city
it's a
of
town.
Greensburg.
We are
It's
not in a
town.
city. We are not in a city.
We have
the
about
tallest
town.
building is 3 towers.
We
No,
have
I'm sorry.
20,000 people.
The tallest building is shut down. My building, the Troutman building, is closed. The tallest building in Greensburg is closed down. But what do you have?
On a bright note, though, coming into the city, if you want to call it a city,
Yeah.
love the red, white, and blue
Oh,
courthouse.
yeah.
The way they
Red,
look
white,
at the
and blue
courthouse, it looks
courthouse.
really
Now,
nice.
is it just that? Because we don't
It's
know
all
the
about the
winner,
little things.
because we don't know the winner of the election. Are they going to make it?
No,
No.
it's like that all year.
Okay.
And
I think they also do it
It
pink,
changes
don't
color.
Yeah, it
They
changes
do different
color.
colors.
Wait, I've never seen it red, white, and
No,
blue.
yeah, I like
That's
it. I like it. I like it a lot.
They'll do like pink for breast cancer awareness and all that.
I've seen
you
it
know.
purple before.
Yeah,
Does anyone know whether the protests are still happening?
I
outside
don't
the
think they
courthouse?
are. I haven't heard anything happening for a while.
It's too cold.
A couple
out for
weeks
that.
ago there were, and that's what we got into the big argument. It's like, why are you protesting? Like, you know, and my whole legal thing, like if we're gonna get on a little tangent here, is I still don't understand what the end game is here with the lawsuits. So
Well,
what
I mean,
exactly
we can
are you
explain that because
protesting?
So
Act
against
77
protest.
was unconstitutional. To pass mail-in balloting, Pennsylvania's constitution specifically is designed. Is this leading into our next?
Greg has
It's
it on a
perfect.
post-it.
It's designed
Yeah.
for in-person voting unless you're, say, on vacation or you're working out of town. For them to they needed to amend the Constitution,
Yeah.
which is a major process that they did not go through. So right there's your legal argument that this election was unconstitutional in the state of Pennsylvania. And that doesn't just harm the Pennsylvanians. You're also looking at every other state. Their constitutional rights were infringed on because Pennsylvania didn't follow the laws.
I think Alec wants to make an analogy here.
Okay, Greg.
You
Why don't
may-
you just make it for me?
No. Yeah. No,
Why
no.
don't you tell the rest of them what I'm thinking?
I have an analogy that we had this discussion a couple of days ago.
We did in the regular one, just you and I
Yes.
did. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so what? Right now, how would you explain 6 months before the election, because of COVID,
We made emergency legislative decisions.
and the court, and specifically in Pennsylvania's instance, now all 4 states in the lawsuit, all 4 states made changes after COVID. So these are unelected decisions. Nobody elected their local leaders thinking that they were going to have to make lockdown decisions. It wasn't on the ticket. We didn't know. This was an unknown variable.
We're in flux, Greg.
Yes.
We're in flux.
Yes. The question with PA is you have the legislator wrote a law, and it was not clear. It was taken to
right.
the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled in such a way that they interpreted against what the Republican legislature.
Basically, all about pre-canvassing. When can you open up these ballots and count them and figure out if there's problems with them?
And this went to the Supreme Court 2 months ago.
Right.
Roberts flipped, made it a split decision 4-4. He should have. It would have normally been a 5-3. Roberts, the Republican, actually voted with the Democrats.
And this is just about Pennsylvania.
Basically, it's a push. Yeah, it was strictly our case because it's going back up now. We're about to do this one more time.
Well, there you go. It's a push. So the state Supreme Court's ruling holds. So.
But that's so. No,
You're not going to win. Like
my understanding,
Trump's not going to win it.
My constitutional understanding of how a state's electors are deemed legitimate.
It's from the legislature.
Yes, the state writes a law.
They have to send the votes. Yes,
It's up to the legislature.
The Supreme Court can say that's unconstitutional, strike it down, and send it back to them.
It's happened before. There was that example. I think it was '68 where the legislature didn't actually send the votes to DC to be counted as what the vote said. I mean, we have examples of this actually happening in history. It's not unheard of. So.
Tim Pool made a great example of it. It's like you have a delivery guy going in between. You've made the deal with the guy you're getting the package from.
Yeah.
But you're sending somebody on your behalf, which would be the
legislature,
right?
Well.
But when you want to change that deal, the new guy doesn't get to go negotiate it. You still negotiate that deal yourself.
Yeah, you're still it's actually more of like a post office type of thing if you think about it. Like somebody is conveying the votes to the politicians, you know, and it's actually kind of funny since we had so many mail-in ballots, this election. That was very like exactly what happened, So
how are we in 2020 and we don't have a good way to vote? That is my question.
The older ways of voting actually I feel like work better, where they've like put like ink on your finger or something like that to make sure you couldn't go back and vote again.
Muslim countries, you get a little bit of blood.
Yeah, you get the blood, the prick, and all that. So
but I think
the problem is,
I guess my question that weave is, I would say 4 years ago, 8 years ago, it wasn't the best, our voting system, but it made sense. You had to show up.
You had to show up.
It
I
was
mean, if
in
you want to
person.
know the answers, you got to go look and see who's invested in the companies that make the voting machines.
So against
And
the
that's-
mail-in
and that's-
ballots.
we can do hard
Conspiracy
counts. We
theories,
can
you
do hard
know.
counts. There's nothing to stop
Yeah.
like getting rid.
The
In-person
problem-
voter ID.
The problem is not being able to do it in person in the middle of a pandemic. Okay, like that is the context which we
Just
are
wear your mask.
in here.
That's what they say.
Wolf
Wear
did.
your-
Wolf did.
Well,
Wolf
your
wore his
mask.
mask.
And
Wolf
this is-
sleeps in his mask.
and
He
this is
showers
where it got
this mask
political.
on.
This is where it got political because the Democrats wouldn't go vote in person and the Republicans would. I was a Democrat that wanted to go and vote in person. I'm not saying that was like the overall what happened, but that was the trend.
But now,
you know,
so if you're a Republican and you're looking at this as, so the Chinese fucked up, got us sick. The way that the Democratic governors reacted made it in such a way that that advantaged their voters that are scared to leave their house and really aren't motivated to show up for Joe Biden anyways, but all they got to do is fill out a mail-in ballot while simultaneously shutting down Trump's rallies.
You would have thought it would have helped the old people that usually vote conservative.
And censoring social media?
Wow.
That's a lot of, like, that's tough for, if you support the president, that is a lot of, wow. I mean, all the stars aligned.
I honestly thought it was going to help old people, and old people usually vote Republican. So I was like, oh, I think it's pretty down the middle. Like, I wasn't expecting this either. But the young people were the ones that actually took it all seriously.
Apparently we voted
that's
for
why they mailed in. Craig, as a former post office mailman, I mean, did you not trust your own former organization to get the job done?
We have him on recording.
No, absolutely not.
No,
wouldn't you give them any credit? I mean, your mom does it for a living.
I mean, I'm not saying they're all bad people working there, but
check out the hobo vote.
Yeah, the hobo vote.
We are on record talking about this.
Yeah.
My thing with the Stop the Steal update here, if the Supreme, remember, Ted Cruz is going to be arguing this case.
Stop the steal.
Ted Cruz is going to be arguing that these last-minute changes are illegitimate. It's not that the vote should be flipped. It's that they should be pitched. It's that if your state could not properly function during the election week to seat electors that reflect their views, then we're not going to punish the people of Georgia, Florida, Ohio, the Midwest. There were a lot of states that conducted elections just fine and had none of these controversies. For them to their votes to basically be disenfranchised because Pennsylvania couldn't figure out how they wanted to vote, and we all knew
we had the biggest controversy because we had the most votes.
I know, but we had 5 months.
It's that simple.
During June,
and we have a legislature that's basically inept. So what do you want?
We were sitting here looking at each other, going, "This is going to be messed up. This is going to be messed up."
And
we were saying
was.
the same thing with the teachers going back. Are we going to plan anything? No, we didn't, and it got fucked up. And then we're sitting around wondering, "Wow, how did this happen?"
Our first episode, Election ID, we talked about that. I'm pretty sure all that.
Yes,
like this is
all
like
of that.
not going to turn out well.
Go back and watch it. Under a different name than what were we?
We have a new. It's the Greg Troutman show, everybody.
No, today,
no.
Call your own foul. Call your own foul.
Oh yeah, explain your call your own foul thing.
Call your own foul is a playback to almost like backyard sports, where when you don't have a referee that you can say this person is an arbiter of facts, you can't question them, you can't go against them. None of us is a definitive arbiter of facts. If any one of us wants to call bullshit right now, we got our phones, we got the internet, we can sort this out. This is call your own foul. This is not any kind of, I guess, trying to push one idea over another. It's just trying to outline the context of both ideas.
We're just having a conversation.
Yes, backyard style. It's not
right.
We're trying to do better.
No one's doing it for a living.
This is just like talking at the bar.
Without the drinks.
We're trying to be more informative than the news.
Right.
Without following their structures. They're just not doing it right, but they're all on the takes for all a bunch of different.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things I'll agree with you on, Craig, like you're like, oh, this only viewed on Fox, or this only was here, this is only there. You know, I give you that point because it should all be played everywhere. You know, like the way you cut things and the way you present things definitely create, you know, that spin. I'm not giving Fox a free pass here.
No, Fox doesn't. They're the Republicans.
They do it and they do it the best out of anybody with putting the spin on. You know, but hey, at least they do have they at least call themselves out every now and again.
They're closer to down the middle than CNN. I'd say by a good bit.
I don't even think CNN wants.
No, I
don't even think they're
alt left.
I don't think they're claiming
it's alt left.
You know.
I don't think they're even claiming that they're center.
No, they do.
Do they?
They do.
Yeah, they do.
They do. Chris Cuomo still thinks he's viewed as down the middle.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, I stopped watching.
But Fox claims to be down the middle too. They all claim it.
But I would argue, depending on when you watch Fox, sometimes they do actually try.
Some of the personalities.
And I'd argue,
some of the personalities really take it.
If someone's supporting Trump now, it pisses me off because I used to watch CNN. Just they never call Democrats on foul. They don't even make an attempt. There's no
and that's their pussy move.
Well,
right
no,
there.
but
they're just not even trying.
No, it helps them. My thing is now watching Fox not do that for Trump all the time. It kind of pisses me off because I'm sitting here wondering if CNN's going to run full blown propaganda for the left. Come on, Fox, help Trump out. I mean, you can't. You're actively kind of arguing against him.
We were talking about this before the show. This is the problem with Trump. He's really more like a liberal because he spends money like it's made on trees. So
yep.
To end the Stop the Steal, you kick these 4 states. It's Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. You throw all 4 of them out, that's 62 electoral votes. That takes Biden down from 306 to 244. He's still beating Trump by 12, but expressly stated in the Constitution, you need 270 votes. Without 270, it gets kicked to each individual eligible state.
Right.
That's the 46 remaining. When you look at those numbers, that's 25 conservative states who presumptively would pick a red elector, 22 liberals. I know that that's 47. D.C.
Does it?
Well, no, technically, D.C. has electoral votes that would go Democrat, but in the Constitution it says the 50 states.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Controversial.
I don't know if D.C. counts on that.
I think they should make D.C. a state. That was an issue on the table.
We
talked about
you
that.
Little court packer, you little court packer, you.
That's right.
This is how it happens.
Give me some more. Give me some more representatives.
Court packer.
Give me some more senators, everybody.
Liberals.
That's what
Georgia,
I'm talking about.
Georgia, look at me, Georgia. If you let the two Democrats in, the first move that they are going to make is to expand the Senate 2 more states, and that's going to be Puerto Rico and it's going to be D.C. That's 4 Democratic senators.
I don't know why we didn't think about this
takes
earlier.
It up
this
to,
is perfect. Perfect strategy.
It's also
Why
convenient.
did I think about it earlier?
All of
It
this
is.
lining up
I
at
love
one
it.
time. It's
Wrong.
just so convenient. Thank God China's around for all this, isn't
Does
it?
Puerto Rico want to become
Isn't
a
it
state?
great
though?
for the Democrats to have to go to bed every
Yeah.
night saying thank you,
Why not?
China? Thank you
Well,
for
because they don't have to pay federal income taxes.
Yeah, but you
They're
get
not on the
you
hook
get
for
a
all
lot
this
more
debt
people.
we're
We
running.
talked about this.
I see. I think
I think it's crazy. I want to.
states should lower their electoral vote. I don't think California should have 55.
Oh,
They have a crap ton of people.
you want to
Yeah.
start.
They're
throwing
gonna lose
delegations.
some.
Yeah.
There's people leaving.
Oh,
they might
I
lose
already
some.
know people.
but not for the census.
Like that's what
If
drives
the
me nuts
Democrats,
is how many
if the
states.
Democrats take the census this year, if they control the Senate, the House, the census take the
You're saying
presidency.
the electoral votes don't make sense.
Yes, just because like one city in the whole state shouldn't decide the whole state. in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I
Like,
mean,
you
it
got
is-
L.A. and then you win. You
Well,
know?
the question is,
Yeah.
It's based on population.
It's if you don't do winner take all. Let's say you did it percentagely. Let's say like Georgia, for example.
Nevada.
It's basically 50-50. To commit all of that state's electors
Yeah.
to one party makes no sense.
I don't understand
And
why.
I'm not against like I don't care who's president, Republican or Democrat. I just want there to be a better way. Like there should be a
Well,
Where you trust it,
that-
right?
yes.
Yeah.
now.
I think if more people did it, like Maine and it's the one of the ends. Nebraska does it. or
Nebraska 2 and Maine 2.
yes,
Yeah, they both
they
let one
split
of their
the-
electors
right.
go.
And I think they should do that. Like they could make Pennsylvania. We have 20. I don't know. Like
With these lockdowns, to
5,
try-
5, 5, 5. You know,
to-
like you can do quadrants. I don't know.
There's no reason to apply the lockdowns the same for each county, regardless of the population. We have Pittsburgh and Philly.
Yeah.
Those are like California and New York.
And then you got like Scranton. and
Everywhere,
Erie,
yeah,
so
these
it's
are
like,
Nebraska,
you know,
Wyoming.
it's-
You don't mask up these places. You don't lock them down. These people don't really gather in over 50%. Like that's generally like when you go, I'm gonna go to the place next door.
That's like they're like, oh, what? Biden won Pennsylvania. It's like, no, he won Pittsburgh
and Philly,
and,
yeah.
and everybody
In Erie.
else.
so to commit
a couple other counties out
So-
there. It
but-
wasn't just those two.
but to commit all of those electors
One out in
when you only win by a couple percent,
Joe Biden, one Scranton.
the devil's advocate argument to that is if you start delivering electoral college points proportionately, it makes it difficult for anyone to get enough. If a third party runs in each state,
Which
splits
that
3
should
ways,
become a thing.
but now that would make so all of a sudden we get to
Shouldn't be 2 parties.
we'd be at this point right now and nobody gets 270. You have let's say you have
Kind of how it works.
Change
in
isn't
Europe.
a bad thing.
let's say right now you have Biden because if you add the Libertarian votes to the Republicans, Trump wins.
Yeah.
In
It's like that
in the
every-
swing states, the Libertarians cost Trump. Now, when I say cost, they got it right. Libertarian.
There shouldn't be 2 people though. And first of all,
Yeah,
these
I
were the
agree.
worst 2 people in history.
Yeah,
well,
but see,
they keep the good candidates off the debate stage.
Normally, I would agree with you on the 2 candidate thing or the like multiple candidate things.
It makes it tough to pick a winner.
It does, and that's what
You
it
end
like.
up- you end up with a 3
You split that vote, and then that is like because it hurt who ran against.
I'd like to have a prolonged conversation about this. But
Yeah.
it's a little nuanced for where we were going right now. I think
Right. Yeah.
I think we got
It's hurt Democrats in the past. That's all I'm saying.
Hail Mary for a stop the steal if these 4 states are thrown out. And to me, my interpretation of the
Total. It's
Constitution
more
is
than
they
a Hail
should
Mary.
be. But I don't think the Supreme Court wants to be viewed as
No.
something, even if they disagree with how this was done. The criminal cases, that video of the Georgia ballots and
Yeah,
everything, those are going to be in criminal court. Those will not be solved within the
Civil.
next year.
Yeah.
So any worry about just give them. We're going to have a criminal case. The Republicans, but You got Lindsey Graham,
but
McCarthy. They're on this.
Those kind of things happen every year.
They do.
They're just trying to use that because if they can,
Trump's
play there is just
we might be discussing the efficacy of mail balloting for a very long time, and it's going to depend on whether or not there was a tangible amount of fraud showed. Maybe not enough to flip the election, but enough to make you go, wow. 13,000 people.
And that's how government works. It's meant to move slow for a reason. So this stuff doesn't just like happen out of nowhere. You know, there's supposed to be enough discussion, public input, people voted on things. I mean, it's designed to be like this, you know. So
weren't some dead, like the mail-in ballots?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much allegedly there's so much alleged things that happened here. It's just impossible to know at all. You know, that is the problem with the conversation. Is like you never really know for sure. You know what? Now the local ones, you and I agreed with you on this point, Craig. You were like, it has more to do with the local elections because you're right. I mean, I think how much did Biden end up winning Pennsylvania by? It was like over 50,000, right? So
I think 40,
yeah,
43.
And but the local vote, the Ziccarelli, Brewster, and I think it's state senate. It's 37 votes. It's under 100. It's being decided by. So if she can, the Republican, the Ziccarelli girl from New Kensington, if she can like get those 1,200 votes thrown out, then she'll probably win. So like okay, you know, I agree. We need to have the process and it needs to count. But when you win by 50,000 votes, I mean, stop crying, go home, you know, so which is what I'm going to do.
Well, before you leave, the one thing I want to get for the record here, because this is going to be moving forward. We talked a little bit about the vaxxers in the last episode.
I had such a good segue, but go on.
You did have a good segue. I'm going to use you to transition on to the next subject here.
Okay.
Vaxxers. We just got the Pfizer approval 3 hours ago.
Yep.
And now we also got the announcement 4 hours ago that Pennsylvania's closing. So we locked down originally.
Say what you want about the vaccines, but it's the only hope to like get things back to normal as fast as possible. So
now when you say what does that mean? How did the vaxxers help us get back to normal?
Will you take it?
I will at some point, but being 30, you know, it's like I'm not the first one that's going to need it. By the time it gets down to the 30-years, it'll be like 2 years from now. And it's like, will we even really need it by that?
We're talking spring. Yeah. We're talking it's going to be because there's 50% of the New York Fire Department won't take it. And it's like they've been kind of over anticipating how many people want this vax.
It's hard to say exactly how it would react when late spring. I don't think it's going to happen as fast as you guys think.
To take your kid to right now, the scenario that I'm saying is to take your kid to the doctor.
Yeah.
He's going to have to be vaxxed because they're not going to want him to expose potentially vulnerable people in the hospital.
And trust me,
it might leave a scar.
It might.
Bell's palsy, 15 people's faces.
I mean, the vaccination crowd, I mean, like we're having it right now at my household because we just had a baby. And it's like, do you get the vaxes? Do you not get the vaxes? Yeah. How much? Can you do a partial vax? You know, what do you need just for public school? What do you need for not? You know, like
just wear a mask.
No.
Just wear a mask. If you wear a mask, you don't need a vax at all, you know. But, I mean, at some point, I think, like, it would all depend on the situation. Like, if the outbreak is still going rampant come late spring, then I probably will get the vax. If it seems to have died down, then I'm like, it's not worth the risk, you know. So it's that kind of decision.
I guess that's what. So when we say seem died down,
once Biden gets in, it'll die down.
Is that 0 cases?
Exactly. No.
Well, see, that's what we're talking about here.
It's on when I say die down, it's like hear about it less locally, I guess, because I hear about people getting it, people dying, the courthouse, county commissioners. I mean, it's like everybody. It's like people just drop like, oh, COVID here, COVID there. So when because we didn't have that first time around. We talked about this last show. First COVID scare, like locally, I feel like Western PA was pretty good. You know, we didn't have like everybody that my mom knows at the courthouse get COVID, you know, except for her.
But we weren't testing.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, we weren't testing as much.
We don't really know.
I know, but there's still. I'm still hearing about more people getting sick. Like that's what.
So many people survived.
But that's what I'm.
So many people died. I mean, it's like, how do you quantify it? Like, it's really hard to put all in the correct.
Yeah, but it's the
context,
ratio.
So.
And it's the underlying health effects they probably had.
My grandma she's about to pass from this.
Yeah, I mean,
within the next 24 hours.
It's tough because
of the COVID that killed her. She was in 70 days of isolation in a nursing home. There was the nursing people wore all of their PPE. They had their hazmat suits, their masks, their face guards, and she still got it.
I think it's scarier for the older population.
She's in her late 80s. She was late into dementia, and like she was brought in because of a UTI.
This is just what kind of.
This was not. It's not COVID that killed her. It's old age.
Yeah.
It's
no,
not,
I understand your point, but it's still like, when you gather around for Thanksgiving and Christmas, those are the people that you're bringing to the table. So
Well, yeah, but you cannot.
I see what they're trying. I see where they're coming from.
We're at the point now. If your grandparent is scared, then everyone that goes to their house can get a test at CVS, or you cannot go.
And that's why you have to have testing. So you can't say, "Oh, more testing, more people."
We have
it's
it,
like
but
you gotta have it.
Be smart. In our family,
why are we
The only way to be smart is by testing.
Like
Why?
in our family,
No,
if you weren't safe, you didn't come. Like it was just our immediate family.
in New
My
York-
grandma, no one saw her.
New York,
My grandma didn't come to Thanksgiving either because of the same reason. So
New York is testing the kids in the schools, and they're testing the NFL players.
the
and
kids
the
in
athletes.
the kids in the schools
They
is really
aren't-
where more of your argument should be from.
My understanding, if we followed my strategy, the main people we would be testing is if you worked in a nursing home, if you worked in a hospital, you'd get a test every single day.
Right.
Those are the people that we should focus testing on, not asymptomatic people. It's people who are going to have to deal with symptomatic people.
Yeah, because they're the super spreaders, quote unquote.
No, see, I'm not concerned about a super spreader in an elementary
young-
school
'cause a young person-
none of them are getting sick.
Yeah, I know, and that's the problem. No one's getting sick, so you don't really know who you should keep home or not.
No, you do. You got to
you
keep
don't-
grandma away from kids.
And so then that means you can't have Christmas and Thanksgiving, and you got to have lockdowns.
No, you can't.
So
everybody.
there
but
you go.
No. Everybody but comorbids can have traditional.
Unless they don't care. I
Yes,
mean, if somebody elderly
it's
doesn't
totally
care
their
because
right.
it's the
My-
how many more years they got to live?
No, you're
Let 'em live
right.
their life.
Most of
Land
the
of the
people I
free.
know,
Let 'em not
most of
care,
the
and
people
then
I
people
know
will
that
die.
are comorbid
That's
would
just-
sign away a waiver that would not want to restrict them.
If you're worried about viruses, you got to stay home, and that's even
Yeah.
when coronavirus is
did.
done.
The
There's still other
germaphobes did that.
viruses. You got to stay home if you're
the
that
flu,
worried. About it.
like you're gonna.
What if you can't afford to stay home? What if you're still working and you're
Mm.
65?
If you're on Social Security,
That's
the
where we
government
should
supposedly
this
gives you enough
package,
money to live off.
This
of.
stimulus package, that's where it should have been aimed. It should have been at not sending the kids home from school, but if you're a teacher in between 55 and 65 and you're honestly scared and you don't want to go in and expose yourself every day, then we can
Teachers are rioting.
we can
Teachers are
help
rioting.
that person. We can help that person. What the students are about to start.
Yeah.
And it's like, so the teachers' riots is, it's cold out. I don't think the teachers are going to want to go outside much longer to continue their protest.
I don't want to say this
and if the
because-
government's not giving money, and if what we just talked about earlier, if I'm Mitch, I'm having a hard time giving Nancy that trillion. Especially if I don't know what's going to save the restaurants. If you're not going to give me tort reform, if you're not going to ensure that people aren't going to start suing their neighbors for giving them COVID, I think we can wait till Biden takes office January 20th. It's his country then. I don't know why bailout. We obviously could have waited till election day. We've survived till now. What does Mitch have at this point? What is it doing? Nancy just clearly showed her hand. Everyone knows what could have been done. It wasn't done. And she made a choice, a very conscious. She made a very, 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 very direct choice.
Are Democrats really ecstatic about her? I mean, she's been around forever.
I don't know. My question to AOC: challenge her. If she was ever
Yeah.
vulnerable,
I
if
was
there was
wondering,
ever a time to
is the
strike,
squad gonna
Sometimes they-
take her out?
Sometimes
I think
you
the
sometimes
squad
you
may
need
take
more
her out.
infighting. You need a little infighting to get it going. You know?
Burners, where's the revolution?
Right.
I see your policies are getting across, but it's John Kerry. It's Nira. I can't even remember that.
2004, you
I can't even
ran.
remember her last name. I have so many problems with Biden as a staff. I mean, if you used to support Bernie, what did you win? This is your second election where you were the most popular candidate. You didn't get a VP. You didn't get any board picks.
He didn't win anything.
Nothing.
Yeah, no,
Nothing.
and that sucks.
At what point?
Because for all those voters that are out there that were Bernie, I mean,
Hey,
because he had a strong contingent of the Democrats.
Play
you
your
know,
cards.
young people.
Play your
I liked
ca-
Bernie at one point.
But
You know,
no,
he was. You know,
apparently Bernie got a goose egg. He participated and
didn't a lot of people compare Bernie to Trump though? I mean, I guess you kind of got that.
Bernie
right?
is
I mean,
McGovern. We're gonna have another episode about Bernie and the McGovern. There's a long history of infighting amongst Democrats with the establishment versus the outsiders. And McGovern was the OG to beat the establishment, but then he got swept by Nixon in a 50-0.
We'll get the history lesson later, Greg.
Yes, we'll
but,
get
you
more
know.
into that. I'm trying the Bernie people, guys. This isn't negotiating. This isn't.
All right, you guys have fun. Keep
right.
talking for
Yes.
several
Yep.
more hours.
Thank
And,
you for swinging by.
yeah, I can't wait to hear the last 30 minutes.
We got Vax talk, and then we got Eric Swalwell. That's gonna be the highlight of. Is there like a way to take like a pause or a break?
Yeah, we can pause. We can just pause it right here.
Is there like, do we put music on, or do we just say like, hey
We'll
guys,
just pause it.
we're
and
gonna be
then
right back. I want to
on the video. It'll be like we did it like this.
let's wrap out the Vax talk here,
All right.
and then we're gonna do.
We
our
can
own
do a
special.
second segment.
Eric Swalwell.
Yeah, since he's not
Eric
even-
Swalwell. I'm gonna have a good time talking.
Woo!
Okay.
All right, let's take a little break.
Well, no,
because-
with the Vaxes. My concern is, and this is the news, I guess, I am admittedly uninformed on. I'm watching both channels, trying to kind of gauge. On Tuesday, we had a dueling press conferences between Republicans and Democrats on how the vax rollout's going to happen. On Fox, you had the Project Warp Speed celebration at the White House. And this wasn't Trump bragging. This was the people CNN likes. This was the Admiral Giroux. This was all the big leagues, basically, besides Fauci.
Yeah,
coming out.
He
and
spread
saying,
the wealth around.
The goal was to explain to the public, you can trust this. This is important. Like, this is going, hey, we want to show you the process. We know we called it warp speed. We rushed it. We want to make this as transparent as
Trump
possible.
doesn't want it to be called the Biden vax. He
No.
doesn't want Biden to get any
I want to
credit
call it the
for
MAGA vax.
That's what.
I think if it's coming out tomorrow, it's MAGA vax.
Yeah, that's why he did it. He didn't want to take
It's
all
MAGA.
the credit.
It's MAGA. I don't want to hear liberals go, I won't take a MAGA vax.
Right,
I don't think I'll take.
I won't be taking it.
I'll take a Kamala vax. I'm not taking.
Yeah,
a
I'm not
MAGA
taking
vax.
a vaccine.
No. Well, I'm not.
There's not enough study on it.
No.
And it's not worth
It's
it.
not. Yeah, that's more. It's not. It's more that this disease has not been proven deadly enough to me to do
Right.
something that I don't know the consequences.
That's
of.
Well,
If you're gonna do anything, you gotta.
It's been-
Maybe, if you're gonna protect people, you're gonna protect the elderly.
this disease has like if you look at the top 10 deadliest days, the last 3
Yeah.
or 4 days has been on the top 10.
It's high. It's obviously we are at what was Trump saying,
But what
making the ban.
I saw on the news today, two hairstylists got COVID, and everybody they treated 137 people or whatever.
with the mask on, with the mask
on,
and nobody
no one
got sick.
it.
Yep. I mean,
So,
maybe she didn't cough or sneeze, and she was asymptomatic, so she wasn't actively spitting.
right.
Is that possible? That maybe like I won't sneeze into my mask. I'll hold
No,
it.
yeah, that's
I'll
gross.
choke myself.
That's
I'll
what you're
pull my
supposed to
shirt
do.
up over my...
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're supposed to sneeze right into your
You
mouth.
only wear you don't wear the mask when you're not breathing. If you're not breathing, you're not shedding virus. If you just walk to your table and you hold your breath, you're not like all of a sudden it's just kind of falling off your hair, it's dripping off your shoes. It's like no, you cough when you talk.
I don't really think we know where it even comes from.
Well, when we talk right now, especially with how animated I am, there were little spit particles. They're like,
Yeah.
Mike, you can't see them, you can't feel them. They're flying
it's
all
flying
over the
through the
place.
It's so random. Though.
Nah,
That's the thing.
And that's why they go 15 minutes. If you spend 15 minutes talking around someone, the odds are me and Craig are going to spit on each other's hands and touch their faces.
What's
It's like
really
I'm
weird
gonna-
though, maybe it's just because there's all this coronavirus talk, but does anybody know anybody who's gotten the flu?
Oh, no. Because all the symptoms are the same. No.
mean,
I
and it's
do
the
not.
numbers, the stats. And I don't want, as far as I am sympathetic to the ICU
The
capacity.
flu, but how about the racism?
I want to.
Gone away, right?
Oh, yeah, it has. I forgot because he elected Joe Biden. There's no why. Yeah.
No, but even
well,
with the
no.
COVID,
With the-
COVID took over. Now there's
well,
no.
Well, these,
Well, during the COVID,
No.
during the summer, we had all the.
these vaxes.
Barely.
These vaxes are interesting because there is very justified cause for African Americans to not trust vaxes.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Tuskegee study is very well known. I mean, this is something that you can look into on your own. It was a scientific attempt to figure out what are the long-term repercussions of syphilis. And what they did was they told people they were going to give them the cure for syphilis, and they gave them a placebo. They all got syphilis, and they let them, a bunch of African Americans in Alabama, I think it was Alabama, they let it play itself out for 20 years, and it just really ravaged a group of people. But it was never really thought. I mean, this was 1940s. This was after World War II. There was a whole bunch of stuff that was being accepted that now we look back on it, that when they say not only are we promoting that black people get a vax, we want them to go first.
yeah.
I don't. Okay, I don't want to go first.
No, not me.
I don't want to go first.
We're gonna let the war criminal presidents go first.
Yeah, the prisoners.
Well,
No, the president.
I know. No, here's my
No, Bush and
big question.
Clinton and
When
Obama.
none of them have had the
Kanye.
COVID. What does Trump do? He has immunity. He has
Yeah,
antibodies.
he doesn't need to.
He doesn't need. So now I already heard Fox today.
Is Wolf still gonna take it, even though he's now got it?
That's gonna be my question, and that's where what I wanted to get to here is when you listen to Project Warp Speed's press conference that CNN did not cover. Not only did not cover, they ran a Joe Biden Fauci president-elect vax talking about what it's going to look like on January 20th. If you listen to the Republicans, what DeSantis and what Abbott in Texas, Florida is DeSantis, are deciding to do is within 48 hours of today They are going to be getting the vax to the most vulnerable and the first responders. Whoever wants it, not mandated. Anybody that wants it can get it. Once they have it, well, those are the people that we've been trying to protect. The reason we can't let the hospitals get too busy is because if all the doctors get sick, then who's going to take care of all the sick people?
Yeah.
So once we get them vaxxed and the vaxes help them, then the hospitals are good to run like they always have.
We should open back up.
We should, and I think what's going to happen is, so you're going to see the red states do this over the.
Did you bump it?
Yeah. Over the next 2 weeks, you're going to see the red states do this. The blue states, Cuomo basically is in charge of us, which I'm going to be handling. We're going to lockdown every day. I'm recording Cuomo. I'm going to be the little guy in the box. Like when he has the hand guy, that's going to say, I'm going to be the guy in the box, and I'm going to pause him. Like when we just got to freeze, this is what Cuomo said, this is what he meant. I'm just going to be banging my head off the wall. Like when this was all happening, that was what I was imagining. Like if I was just young in my early 20s, I moved to New York on a whim, trying to stay on my own, and now the whole city's shut down. I can't go anywhere, and Cuomo's telling me I got to stay in my little box.
Do you think people realize too? LA is still completely locked down. They've never.
They shut down outdoor dining.
Sucks.
They can't eat outdoors.
They have not been able to do anything.
No. And that's where, with the blue state, red state, if the red states are at, their goal is you get 30% of the population vaccinated, 30% herd immunity. That gets you to 60%. Good to deal with it. It's going to be a low amount, kind of like the flu. You're going to have a certain percentage of the population that goes through it. What I think the Democrats are trying to do is eliminate the spread of COVID.
Like completely.
Actually take it to zero.
Which I don't.
Well, that's well,
know
right
that's
now
possible,
with the
but-
3-week lockdown. If no one leaves their house now,
That will be years.
the way it spreads.
No
is,
one's gonna stay. I'm not staying home. I got shit to do.
Everyone has. It's the holidays. We've had the worst year.
They don't even know
of
how it
all of our
spreads.
lives. No, they still. And that's why the thing with my grandma, and that's what I was trying to get across earlier, is people are going to hit me with being unsympathetic or unempathetic. I've just watched my grandma go through this entire process. We followed every rule, every single social distance measuring, and she got it through touch. That's just it. There was no way that one of the nurses coughed. It made it through her face mask, underneath her face shield, and then down straight onto my grandma. It's like it probably got on their scrubs when there were 27 people in that nursing home who've tested positive. What do you know? A New York nursing home. Everybody gets COVID. You had one job, Andrew, during your lockdown, and that was to secure the nursing homes, and you failed miserably, absolutely miserably. But this was probably done because the COVID might have been on them. It got on their gloves. They went to treat my grandma. She touched it, touched her mouth, coughed. There's so many things we can't stop the spread. We are learning to deal with it. And the only thing we can do in the meantime is protect the most vulnerable. Your grandma, we can get everyone that goes to Christmas Eve at grandma's house can go to CVS and get a test.
Right.
If you don't want to do that, then you don't. That's not to stop it. Let's say you don't have any grandparents. Let's say you're kind of alone. Let's say you're like your family is only a couple people left. Sometimes going out to that restaurant and that place that you go to on the ease, that makes you feel like a part of a family. It makes you feel like a part of a community.
Yep.
There's no spread. I mean,
I think Ohio is down to 6 people gatherings because Courtney's
that's a red
aunt.
state.
Courtney's aunt had mentioned something about Christmas, right, for their family, and her cousin was like, "Well, it's pretty stupid. We're only allowed to have 10 people." She's like, "Oh, it's less stupid than we are. There's 6 people," and her family's got like 6 people in it. Or I think it has more.
But
than
who's
6.
monitoring that?
So you gotta,
like
they're basically relying on your neighbors to tattle to.
And it's cool hearing the sheriffs come out. A lot of sheriffs are going on Fox now, like every hour going on saying, "Listen, we have real crimes to enforce. We don't have time to go see
marijuana."
I mean, we're checking.
Did you see that?
Oh yeah.
I read today that a guy got released after 32 years in there.
Yeah.
Marijuana.
My theory is this is the Democrats' attempt to try and steal the Senate. Is they're going to pin Mitch McConnell's not going to put the vote through. There's the standalone bill to legalize marijuana. The Democrats are pushing. They got a lot of Republican House support, like Matt Gaetz. There's Republicans behind it.
If they don't vote on this,
Mitch is
going to
turn it down.
The Republicans are stupid.
I feel like they're going to say vote Democrats on January 4th, and we'll give you the weed.
I mean,
And that might be enough to turn unenthusiastic Democrats enough to go vote for socialists. And me, somebody who has fought his whole life for weed legalization, I wouldn't trade it here. I'd actually continue to allow it to be illegal to not allow this to happen, to allow full government takeover of one party.
I don't know why they don't take the.
I think that. I
the
mean,
issue off the
that's how I
table.
feel right now. I'm waiting. In the last debate, the goal was for Warnock, the Democratic candidate, to pin the Republican on this. He didn't. She didn't address it, and nobody knows about it. So if you're watching this and you're for, there's no reason to even talk about this until the Democrats come out and say, elect us and we free the weed. If we can get through January 5th. If they put that on the ticket, I think Georgia's back in play. I think if you get every person who likes pot in the state of Georgia, and you tell them, just cast this vote this day in mid-January, you got nothing to do.
All right, let's take a break and we'll do the second half.
Yeah, that's where. Oh, and by the way, at the end of this, stop the hobo vote in Georgia. The DNC should not be walking around helping people fill out their ballots. They're scared of the COVID. They should be staying home. If you're walking around, my grandma just got sick. These people are following social distance. So I don't want to hear this. You're going to my grandma's house with your mask and all your face shit on. No, you're putting the COVID on a porch. Don't go to her house. They already agreed not to do that over the summer when it was health-wise.
Right.
Now in the middle of winter, they want to start pounding doors again. Come on, Governor Kemp.
Go watch our hobo vote episode.
Yeah, the hobo. Stop the hobo vote. Hobo Craig.
All right, next episode.
Yeah.